of 68 after dark. Welcome in to a Friday, January 30th edition of the Field of 68 After Dark. I think we're going to just call this Celebrity Guest Week. That's what it is on the Field of 68, because we had Stanford Steve on early this week, and as you guys can see, we are joined by the great Seth Davis from Hoops HQ. Seth, thanks for being with us, my friend. How are you?
I'm great, and I'm going to start with my Stanford Steve story. This is going to blow you guys away, okay? My first job out of college a million years ago. John, what year were you born?
91.
Oh, you son of a... All right, so I graduated Duke in 92. My first job out of college was covering high school sports for the New Haven Register in Connecticut. And one of the most important things that we did was cover the Naugatuck Valley, which had unbelievable high school football programs. If you saw the Tom Cruise movie, All the Right Moves, where it was almost like a Friday Night Lights, where the whole town lives for this. So when I first got there, they were doing a 75th year commemoration on Ansonia and Derby. So Ansonia was it was like the big football. They had an outstanding quarterback named Steve Coughlin. And he led them to a state title, and then he led so they won a lot of state titles in football, but they weren't traditionally a basketball powerhouse. He led them to a basketball championship. And I wrote a long feature on Steve Coughlin for the New Haven Register. I have it somewhere buried.
Amazing.
So I sort of watched his career. I found out many years later, he told Stuart Mandel this, that whenever I came around, they used to make fun of me because they said that's the guy, that's Pete Sampras. They said he looks like Pete Sampras. So yeah, I covered, and now of course he's Stanford Steve. He's an international celebrity, but I have that little bit of history with Steve. So the fact that you're calling me a celebrity is a very pathetic statement about the Field of 68 and your ability to get actual celebrities. So I'm really glad to be a part of the show tonight.
Well, we're still a new network, and we're growing every year, so I'm proud of the progress that we've made. Jeff Goodman obviously is here tonight. I'm John Martin, and it wasn't exactly a busy night of college basketball, but we had a marquee game, and it absolutely delivered. And we're hoping to catch up with the winners of this game tonight. Michigan goes into Breslin and wins for the first time in a while. Obviously, that final score, Jeff, was not as close, I feel like, as that game played. I mean, there was a moment where I thought Michigan State was really going to take that, and Michigan responded. I thought it was what I would call a nuts and guts win by Dusty May and the Wolverines tonight on the road.
No, you're right. I mean, they came out and defensively, they looked like the team that we saw for such a stretch. It was just blowing teams out. That was the best half of basketball, I think, the first half that they had played probably in a month. And you knew Tom Izzo, his 71st birthday, they weren't going to be embarrassed. They absolutely weren't going to quit, especially with a guy like Jeremy Fears at the helm. So you knew Michigan State was going to come out like gangbusters in the second half, and they did. But I think Michigan, the difference to me was Elliot Cadeau kind of matched Jeremy Fears. I know the stats don't show it, but Cadeau made big shots when it mattered. Kept the defense honest. He's shooting 42% from three this year. A guy that could make a shot his freshman year at Carolina from beyond the arc. So he's been huge for them. Yaxel looked more like Yaxel than he probably had in a while. But I think we've got to guess right now, John, that we're going to go to. To me, the star of the game was one Elliot Cadeau, who has played so well. My man, you have been unbelievable this year. And
Thank you.
We can hear us. I think a lot of us doubted you as a shooter, Elliot, because you didn't shoot well your first year. Your second year you were better. This year you've been fantastic. What do you attribute it to? Is it to the offense, the confidence Dusty gives you? The reps? What is it?
I feel like it's just the confidence that my coach gives me. I mean, I've never had a shooting problem my whole career. And I was a 40% three-point shooter throughout all of high school, middle school. So I think it's just the confidence that the coaches give me and just the freedom that they give me.
Elliot, just take me through that three with about 3 minutes left. It was 66-63, and the three there on the right wing, it goes in, it gives you guys a 6-point lead. Just take me through that moment, and what kind of gave you the confidence to take that shot, and just how big it was for you guys in that game.
Yeah, I feel like that's my sweet spot on the right wing. And like I felt like I was wide open, so I just stepped back and shot it. I felt like it was a good shot for me, and the coaches know I work on that shot every day, so they're fully confident in me taking it. So I just took it.
Hey, Elliot, this is Seth Davis. Congrats on the win. You guys had to know coming out of that locker room at halftime that Michigan State was going to make a run at you. Explain to me the dynamics, the personality of this team when the other team's making a run and you need to bind together and regroup. Are you that voice? Who's the voice, and what's happening in the dynamic inside the team for you guys to be able to withstand that and respond the way you need to?
Yeah, I feel like I'm definitely one of the voices. We got Roddy, Namari, we got Yax, Will, all the older guys that just bring us together. We knew the run was coming. I mean, this is a top 10 team in the country. We're playing on their home court. We knew it wasn't going to be easy, and we knew the game was going to be like a close game. So we just try to stay level-headed. We try to just have the same mentality we had when we was up like 16, 17.
Elliot, is it good for you guys lately? I know we're all talking about these close wins and maybe a little bit nervous. Where's that other Michigan team that was blowing everybody out? I kind of think it's a good thing for you guys that you're winning these close games, that you're in these close games. You guys feel that as well at all?
Yeah, we definitely feel like that. I mean, we feel like we're in the best conference in America, so we know we're not gonna do what we did in Vegas the whole season. So just having close games is good for us. We know now like who we want to get the ball, where we want to get them the ball, and when it comes to like tournament time and stuff, we'll be like very well prepared for those close games.
Elliot, obviously coming over from Carolina, I mean, you're no stranger to, crazy rivalries and historic rivalries in those venues. That crowd tonight looked like, I mean, it was nuts, man. Like they didn't need much of anything to get into it. How does that crowd stack up in terms of, teams you've played?
Yeah, I feel like I played in a lot of places like Cameron. I played in at Kansas. I feel like it definitely was top two. I can't really pick between when I played at Kansas and when I played here. I feel like Cameron is really crazy, but it's definitely not as loud as this. And but Kansas is definitely as loud as this for sure.
Elliot, you guys have a lot of new players, and we look at all these teams around the country, so many situations where you have mass roster turnover. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What was the process at Michigan to create this cohesion and chemistry that we've been seeing from you guys really since day one?
I think that just the coaches just recruiting was very smartly. Like they didn't recruit anybody that was ball dominant. They didn't recruit anybody that had any type of selfish tendencies. So I kind of think they knew that. Like bringing in a pass first point guard, bringing in a passing big man. I feel like they knew what they were doing, and they created a team that nobody cares about who has the success, and they just care about the team's success.
Awesome. Well, Elliot, man, congrats on the win. It was an awesome atmosphere. Big time win for the Michigan Wolverines. You were a big part of it, man. Thanks for joining us tonight, and congrats, man.
Okay, thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thanks, Elliot.
That's Elliot Cadeau, 17 points, and it wasn't the game winner, but that three when he hit it to go up 6 with 3 minutes left kind of felt like just the separation that they were looking for. Seth, we haven't gotten you on this yet. This has to stack up as one of the best wins in college basketball this year, right, for Michigan?
No question. And it's so interesting to me, guys. How many times do you see this? A team gets way down. They come all the way back. And whatever happens mentally at that moment when they're back and Michigan State actually took the lead on that fierce breakaway, there's a little bit of relaxing and the pendulum goes the other way and something happens. Like, oh, we got to climb this mountain again. I mean, that to me is what happened. I mean, you guys saying that 83-71 isn't really indicative of the game. I mean, I kind of think it is. I mean, I felt all night that Michigan was going to win the game. We know Izzo very well. The idea that they came in that first half and just absolutely punked his team on their own home floor on his birthday, that's got to bother him. Just the physical dominance. And then, for Michigan State, I mean, look, this is only the third game they've lost all season. Obviously, they're a great team. Obviously, they can get to a Final Four and accomplish some major goals. But, they're just not the most talented. When you see these other teams and these pros and these lottery picks, I mean, I don't know that there's an NBA player on this team. You see them, they go 4 for 23 from 3 at home. So that, they were in the game against a great team, but it just, I know you guys are the same. I'm always thinking about that second round game, that Sweet 16 game, that Elite 8 game. Like when you get in that tournament, you got to have mad skills. You can't just out tough and out culture people. So for a team that's only got 3 losses tonight, I think, Izzo's got to be like, all right, how do we manufacture some easy stuff? Because the hard stuff is only going to take you so far, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the big thing, John, when I look at this Michigan State team, you just look at a team that's got like 3 non-shooters on the court at the same time. Like that's hard to visualize them going to a Final Four with you don't guard fears, you go under every time and you dare him to shoot the 3, and he really can't. For as good a free throw shooter as he is, he can't make threes. Cooper can't make threes. He's not a stretch big by any means. And Cohen Carr can't shoot it from 3. So I just think you're so limited that way. You're playing like old school Big Ten basketball, and really Fears is best in transition, right? Like he's best, and Cohen Carr's best in transition. And if you could slow him down, which is really what Michigan did in the first half, they didn't give him a whole lot in transition. I don't think this Michigan State team is that dangerous. I think Tom Izzo has done a remarkable job getting as much out of this group as he has. Jackson Kohler's terrific. He was gassed at the end. That last 3 was short. You could see he had nothing in his legs. But yeah, Michigan can win the whole thing. Michigan State, to me, cannot.
Well, I mean, I would say.
How about, John, how about all the zone that Dusty played tonight? I think that's what I think to Jeff's point, because you can shade in on a couple of guys who can shoot. I was a little surprised to see Michigan play as much zone as they did tonight.
Well, I would just say to that discussion point about Michigan State, Jeff, like they were 25th at KenPom before the season started. So even the fact that they were here, in the top 10, and that they weren't supposed to be this is, I guess, my counter to that. So I don't necessarily know if I'm supposed to hold Michigan State to that standard.
John, if they had one wing, if like Kurt Tang, who was non-existent tonight, if he turned into a dude, and obviously they had a dude last year and he left after 1 year. That's probably the difference in this Michigan State team. If you really look at it closely, they don't have that pro. They thought they'd have him for 2 years and they had him for a year.
You guys think Fears is a pro?
No. Can't shoot. I mean, could he be a third point guard on an NBA team? Yeah, I mean, you want to try to say he's TJ McConnell? No, he's not. He's not.
So there's probably not one player on this roster who's going to be in the NBA in the next 4 years. Probably not, right?
I mean, I would say Fears has a chance. He has a chance. But to your point, of course he has a chance. Like he had 31 tonight. Like imagine if they had like anybody to help him. Like
he definitely has a chance. He definitely has a chance. He's one of the top players in college basketball. He has a chance, but you wouldn't bet your house on it.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they have a lock NBA player on this team. I think they might have a guy that, is a G League guy who gets a call up, and maybe plays a little bit of rotation minutes, spot minutes in the NBA. But no, this is not Tom Izzo's most talented team. However, having said all that, Tom Izzo has taken teams that are not very talented to the Final Four before. Yeah. So I think, could they win 4? Yes. I don't think they can win 6. I don't think Tom Izzo can go out on top and win the whole thing this year and then say, I'm done. Not that he'd do that anyway, because I think it's going to take a doctor to tell Tom Izzo when he's going to retire. Right, Seth? Probably.
100%. The last thing his wife wants is him without a job.
Yes.
So he's going to have to, maybe I think he'll fly down to Memphis and Charleston and shovel snow in the wintertime or something, but he ain't going to be hanging out in that house at Lupe. I know that. No, I really go. He's he's a young 71,
Yeah. I will say, just for the record, Michigan was a 2-point favorite in this game at Breslin. So, I mean, it gives you an idea of Michigan State, but really, Seth, this Michigan team, I know, like, they obviously lost to Wisconsin, and Arizona continues to dominate, and they are probably the rightful favorite. But you have to feel like a win like this on the road. You're looking for, all right, can you separate, right? What makes you a champion? What gives you that DNA? This is what champs do now. I mean, you go on the road, a rival like this. I mean, I know, obviously, again, you're talking about a team that's probably second in the betting markets as a championship team, but I feel like this was a stamp for Michigan tonight.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree with that. And to do it on the road, I love teams that defend and rebound, and they're tough and they play well together. I thought, Elliot Cadeau's point about nobody being ball dominant, that's why they let Trey Donaldson go, because as good as he was for them last year, he was ball dominant. And so they brought in Cadeau, knowing that he had been a poor 3-point shooter his whole career. And now he's shooting it well. I mean, you can't overstate the significant. You don't have to do a ton of it, but he's certainly a threat from that. And, it's funny, you mentioned that Wisconsin game. I was actually looking at this today. The kid for Wisconsin, Billy Alskis, he had 17 points in that game. He was 5 for 10 from 3. Wisconsin's played 5 games since then. He's got a total of 14 points. Like, what? Like,
yep.
I mean, what happened there? Like, all of a sudden, and they only lost by 3, and it was close at the end. And so, but for that, they're undefeated. So I don't think there's any question in that locker room. Michigan looks around, they're, number one at Ken Palm in defensive efficiency. Like, they are on a very, very, very short list of national championship contenders for sure. And they look the part.
The reason I bring this up is because Goodman, last time I did the show with Goodman, we had Dusty May on, and he told Dusty May to his face, he said, Arizona is clearly the best team in America, clearly the number one team in America.
The number one team.
Whatever. I would ask you, are you willing to revisit that? Are you willing to revisit that after this win tonight?
I actually think if you told me right now they're going to play a 7-game series, I think it goes 7 between Arizona and Michigan. Where I actually like Michigan a little bit better, to be honest. I still don't know if Arizona shoots and not that I think Michigan was some great 3-point shooting team coming to the year. That was, to me, my biggest worry about them. But with Cadeau shooting 42% from 3 and having that confidence, I actually like this Michigan team a little bit better than Arizona. I was saying at that point that Arizona was the consensus, the clear-cut number one team in the country at that time. I actually think Michigan might be the better team, even though, again, they have that one loss to Wisconsin.
Seth?
Yeah, well, it's interesting, and I got their Ken Palm profile up. So Arizona, they shoot 36% from 3. That's pretty good. It's 55th in the country.
Yeah.
They're 362nd out of 365 teams in the percentage of shots that they take from 3. Oftentimes it's the opposite. Remember last year, that was the big thing about Illinois. They were like top 10 in the country in 3-point rate and like 250th in percentage. And Underwood's like, we're committed to this. We got to keep shooting. So, a lot of this is, getting the right guys, to shoot. Karchenkov is a really good 3-point shooter. Bradley, I mean, they shoot a good percentage. So I think it's in their arsenal. It's a coin flip. I mean, I agree with Jeff. If they play, they go 7 games. It's foul trouble. Who's got a good shooting night? I think maybe, Arizona, I think maybe in the rebounding department, maybe a little bit of an edge, but not by much. The folks at my bosses at CBS and Turner, I think will be pretty happy with an Arizona Michigan championship game.
Yeah, they certainly are the cut above, you would say, the rest right now in the country, no question about it. All right, we're gonna take a break when we get back. Seth, maybe we can fix the NCAA tournament Maybe we can fix eligibility.
Or break it.
I don't know. I mean, don't you have a
I got all the answers.
Okay, we'll figure everything out in college basketball when we get back. Field of 68 After Dark.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. If you're not a member of the Field of 68's On3 community, make sure to go check us out. Get access to all of Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster's written content, including coaching carousel breakdowns, info on who is and isn't entering the transfer portal, insider recruiting information from none other than Joe Tipton, X's and O's analysis of all the teams in college basketball, and access to our message board community. A 7-day trial costs you $1. The Field of 68 on 3. Get the scoop.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark, Friday, January 30th edition of the show. Thanks for being with us here on YouTube on SiriusXM. A little bit later in the show, we're going to talk about tomorrow's slate. We got Darren Peterson versus AJ DeBonsa. Obviously, that's going to go a long way. I mean, I assume Darren Peterson's going to go. So, hopefully he's out and can finish the game, but that's going to go a long way. And maybe, I don't know if it'll settle the 1 versus 2 debate in the NBA draft, but somebody's going to be. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But Jeff, let's get into what might have been perceived as bad news for Dan Hurley, who just spent most of his press conference raving about the greatness that is Kim English. They go on the road, unfortunately, and lay an egg at Villanova. I mean, I will say for Villanova, I mean, Kevin Willard doing a really good job there in his first year.
Really,
I've been very impressed with what he's done.
Yeah, how can you not be? I mean, I think we were unimpressed by what he did in the portal. So the expectations were pretty low in year one. And obviously everybody in Maryland hates his guts, other than maybe Scott Van Pelt. I don't know if he hates him, but I'm sure he doesn't love Willard with how everything went down. But we didn't have high expectations, but Villanova's done a good job and been able to take advantage of a Big East that just has not been very good this year. Right. I mean, Providence had $10 million in resources, NIL resources this year. Creighton's got money, and they've struggled this year. Seton Hall looked great early, and now they've come down to earth. Butler's just been okay, and Georgetown, they came out guns blazing. Everybody thought they were a tournament team, and they've absolutely tanked lately. But I would say this Providence one. We got to have a discussion about this, Seth. And I'm glad you're on the show tonight because there aren't many people that I think can have an honest, in-depth discussion about this and are willing to. But, I'm a Northeast guy. I went to plenty of Providence games over the years. What Ed Cooley did there was really, really impressive. And he left, and then they obviously were pissed off that he left for what they felt like was a lateral job in the same league. Bring in Kim English. The AD Knapp just kind of rolls the dice on a guy that hadn't done a ton at George Mason, and it hasn't worked out. This is year 3, and I think, obviously the loss to Georgetown and Cooley last week was the killer, the crushing blow, because, that's their Super Bowl. You can lose every game, but you better beat Ed Cooley right now, and you blew a 21-point lead, and now I think – it's pretty much over for Kim English at his tenure in Providence. According to my source, it's going to be hard for him to survive this and get to year 4.
Yeah, it's interesting because we're talking about this. We were just talking about Kevin Willard. A couple of things, Jeff. First of all, I've written about what I call the money trap. Look at Kentucky this year. Now they've had injuries, let's be fair, but I would even talk about Kansas last year with AJ Storr and Ronald Griffin, where you have a lot of money, therefore you can just grab guys, and you're not necessarily getting your kind of guys. You're not forced to look for guys who St. John's fell into this trap a little bit too. They've been playing better. So, in Kevin's case, I know Villanova's got money. Remember, he got it late. The portal had already been open for a couple of weeks, by the time he got to Villanova, and he had some guys there who wanted to come back and wanted money. He's like, you guys just got your coach fired. I'm not paying you a lot of money. So I got the sense that maybe he was looking for his type of guys, but he knows how to win in the Big East, right? Kim English does not have that Big East DNA. He played at Missouri, as you talk about, coached with Rick Barnes, coached at George Mason. He certainly seemed like a really good hire at the time. The one thing I would hit pause on is he's only in his third year there. Now, the math is different because it used to be it takes time to recruit and build your program. Nowadays, when you have money in the portal, look at freaking Bucky McMillan. How many people know that Texas A&M is in first place in the SEC? And Maryland, by the way, is a complete disaster, right? So there's so much guessing in the portal. And I just think that there's something to be said. Look at Fred Hoiberg. I wrote about this in my Hoop Thoughts at Hoops HQ today. A few years ago, Fred Hoiberg was almost out of a job, and the AD Trev Alberts brought him back, made him take a pay cut, made him drastically reduce his buyout from $18 million to $11 million, and basically said, well, we're not going to fire you now, but this is it for you. And things turned out well. So I do think that it's incumbent upon athletic directors and chancellors, presidents, whoever's making this decision to not feed the mob. And there's a bad mob right now at Providence. We know about
Providence
that mob.
Is a mob like few others.
Yes.
I mean, they're crazy.
So at a certain point, the AD there's got to be like, listen, man, I think you're a good coach. I think if I gave you more time, this would work. But once you lose those people, it's just they'll kill you. Now it hurts your recruiting. I'm rooting for him. I never like seeing guys get fired. I'm just saying he's only in his third year. And there's something to be said. It didn't work this year for whatever reason. There's learning to be like, he'll be able to have that data and bring it into next season. But can you get it past the fans? I don't know. It's a hard situation. It's a hard situation.
The difference now, I think, in a place like Providence is, all right, they raised that money. And give the AD credit for that.
Yep.
Like, I'm not giving Knapp credit for the hire because he obviously whiffed on that so far. But he did raise enough money. He got him $10 million. So the question is, if you bring back a guy like this, that's the problem. You lose that money. People are going to say, I'm not donating. I'm not giving money anymore unless we make a coaching change. For me, again, I think it's over. I mean, I'll play the game because I'm probably the only one who'll play it with if you're Providence, who do you want next? And the first name to me, Seth, and I don't know if you've given this thought. I'll give you a couple. I mean, the first guy I'd go after is Josh Schertz, who's the hottest coach in America.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Exactly.
Yeah, St. Louis. He was in the mix at Louisville. After he did a great job at Indiana State, did a great job at Lincoln Memorial. He's smart, he's innovative, his offense is terrific. He recruits, develops, all of it. So that'd be number one. I don't know. I think he's going to have better opportunities. I do. I think Josh Schertz is going to be like the hottest name this carousel. To whereas whatever the big, if it's Cincinnati, if it's Syracuse, whatever, he's going to have his pick of a few of the biggest openings. So let's say you don't get him. The next name that I think could be in the mix, and I don't know if you've heard this one, Seth, or you've thought of this one, is a guy named Pitino. And it's not Rick, but Richard. And we know what Rick did at Providence years ago, taking him to the Final Four. I know Richard's only been at Xavier for a year. I know a lot of people think Xavier's a better job than Providence. I think Providence, again, had more money this year than Xavier did in terms of NIL. And Providence is one that I think probably, Richard Pitino might go after and actually take if it's on the table for him because of that. I think it's, as much as anything right now, it's about what? NIL, resources. And if you can get more, significantly more somewhere else, you probably make that move. And he's had a terrible year this year at Xavier, but they had about they had like half of the amount of money that Kim English had at Providence this year for NIL.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're Richard Pitino, and we know how close he is with his dad, and they have, everything there is unbelievable, but like, it's already enough of a thing. Do you have to go to where he was, and what he did there? And all due respect, deal with those fans and their expectations, right? I mean, I think Xavier's as good of a job as there is. I know they haven't had that NIL resources. What are we thinking about Travis Steele these days? Because he did not do well at Xavier, but he's obviously knows something. He learned something. He's been in the league. He certainly is someone I think has got to get a look, don't you think, at some of these jobs?
I do. I think he's a Midwest guy, and I don't see him coming east. I would see him if something happens where Anthony Grant is not the coach at Dayton next season. I could see that being a great landing spot for Travis Steele.
What about someone who's obviously going to be out there is Bobby Hurley? Can you see Bobby Hurley at a Providence? Can you see Bobby Hurley? I certainly hope this doesn't happen. I think it would be a grave injustice, but at a place like Rutgers, because he's a Jersey guy. Like, is Bobby Hurley a good fit for Providence? I mean, he certainly fits in with the culture. He wants to fight everybody all the time, but it's and he's in one of the worst jobs in America right now.
And people don't understand that. I mean, I went to Arizona, so I know how bad of a job and how they don't care at Arizona State for the most part.
Correct.
But he's had such a tough run the last few years. I think it would be hard to justify if you're the AD at Providence right now. I think you've got to hire somebody that's got a little bit more of an impressive resume right now than what Bobby Hurley has done the last 5 years or so.
I also think there's something to be said stylistically. Like I remember a million years ago when Jeremy Foley hired Billy Donovan, from Marshall. I was like, what the hell is that? Right. And he said to me, like, if we're going to lose, I want to lose, 95-90, and nowadays with the whole analytics thing, I mean, it's like, you were wearing your Cignetti hat, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to hire Kurt Cignetti. Well, how about go find the next Kurt Cignetti? I mean, dude came from James Madison. Right? Like, go find the next guy. So I think that maybe
what about Mark Byington, who came from James Madison and Vandy got him? Like, again, he hasn't won a national title, but he's made Vandy, where they were a complete mess under Stackhouse, he's made them nationally relevant right away.
How about Nate Oates? He's a high school coach in Michigan, assistant coach at Buffalo, head coach at Buffalo. Would you ever peg him? Even to go to Alabama, a cultural, Midwestern guy, and then to light it up the way that he has. So, like, find that guy. That's what impresses me. Everyone wants to win the press conference, and I'm like, how about winning your league? So that's what I think ADs are supposed to be doing.
Would you hire? Like, who would you hire if Providence opens? Which I think it will.
Well, certainly Church would absolutely be at the top of my list.
Yeah.
And I'd have to kind of look at who else is out there. I mean,
you want me to give you a couple more names?
Give me some names.
By the way, like, this is a little. The job is not even open.
Whatever.
Do
I look like I care? Do I look like I
know
care?
you don't care, but like, come on, man, it's not even open.
I know. I'm on record. I want to be on record. I genuinely hope that Providence gives Kim English another year. He's been there 3 years. He made some mistakes in the portal. I think he's smart. I think he's a good coach, and I think he'll learn from it. That's my advice. Right. That's my unsolicited advice.
Goodman clearly doesn't. Goodman does not agree.
And with
let's go to the search form of Goodman and Goodman. Okay.
I'll give you some more names. Brian Hodgson at South Florida. I'll give you one. He's now tied for first in the American. Joe Gallo. Joe Gallo's done an incredible job at Merrimack. New England, he's been in New England for a while here, taking him from Division II to winning in the NEC. Now in the MAC, they're in first place in the first year of the MAC. He's done a great job. I'm trying to think of who else I would look at. I mean,
what about assistants? Is Luke Murray ready for this job?
I just think you need a little bit.
Who's the Tommy Lloyd out there?
I think you need a little bit more of a proven guy right now if you're Providence. I don't think you can risk it on an assistant at Providence right now if you're the AD. I think, and again, I'm not sure he's going to have the call here. We'll see. We'll see if he survives.
I'm not sure you named the proven guy, though. I'm still waiting. Go ahead.
I mean, Joe Gallo's been terrific as a head coach at one of the worst jobs in America. Like, go to Merrimack College. Like, it's a brutal job, and he's won now in both leagues. Schertz is proven. Schertz is taking like Kim English did it at a job that everybody's wanted. George Mason.
But we've already addressed Schertz. Like, you think he's going to have better opportunities in Providence? So
I would look at I might look at Rob Senderoff, even somebody like that, who's a Northeast guy who's won maybe not the highest level at Kent State, but again is a good coach. And if you give him more resources, Kent State's a tough job. I'm just, again, for me, Schertz would be one. I'd have Richard Pitino, probably two. Hodgson fits too. His personality fits, and he's from Buffalo. He's a Northeast guy. Gallo. Those would be like four guys I'd have high up there.
But again, Hodgson hasn't done anything. What has Hodgson done?
I mean,
like you're just throwing out a name. Like he hasn't actually done anything yet.
But look at what happened at South Florida before him. That's what I would say. Now, again, obviously, rest in peace, Amir won. But before that, like Brian Gregory was atrocious. Like a lot of coaches have not won there. Stan Heath didn't win there. So I don't.
Has the clock struck midnight on Mark Schmidt
to retire? Maybe. I mean, I heard a lot of.
No, I mean to go to Providence.
I think.
What about?
He would go to BC, but his alma mater is BC. That's where he would go.
I'll give you one. How about Chris Caputo?
That's a good one. Yeah, I like that one.
How about?
He's doing
a really good job at George Washington.
Yeah.
Phil I'm looking at the A10. Phil Martelli Jr. a little early on him, maybe.
What was the last score? The Ramblers VCU game tonight. I didn't see. Did they come back?
They won. They won. They won. They won by 14. Yeah, won by 14. It's not. You know who I think is terrific. Who I think is terrific, by the way. Now this is not a geographic fit at all. And again, maybe a little bit early in the cycle. Eric Olin. First year at New Mexico. He's a great coach. Like, isn't there like a great D2 coach? Like, is there a Bo Ryan out there who's just like awesome? Who's winning D2 championships? And
look at Ben McCullum. Like, look at what happened. Right?
That's what I'm saying.
They're out there. Yeah, they're out there. Providence can't take a risk on a guy like that, though. They cannot. By the
way, we did an entire segment on a job that isn't even open.
You know what? When John Martin's the conscience of the show, we're in trouble. Yeah. But he makes a good point.
That's right.
He makes a good point.
That's right.
All right, John.
So
I hope Kim English survives. I genuinely do. I hope he survives.
Yeah, but look, I'm not gonna. I think this last point on this, we'll go to break. When you get a $10 million payroll and you trick it off the way that Providence has tricked it off, whoever put that roster together should probably not be allowed to put another one together. So I understand the sentiment here. I definitely understand the sentiment.
What about learning? How about playing through your mistakes, Coach? Hey, Coach, can I play through my mistakes?
Dude, $10 million mistake, though.
The kid Vox is awesome. Like, Jones is good. Their backcourt is talented enough. They should not be this bad. So I hear you. The front court may not be great, and they took some Jason Edwards, probably a little bit of a risk, paid him too much money. But ultimately, that roster says to me that they should be winning more games they won.
Yeah.
That's all.
All right. Well, on our mission to fix everything, we fixed Providence tonight, I think. So now we have to fix Seth. We got to come back, and we're going to fix the tournament, and we're going to fix.
You got
it. Okay. It's really simple.
Let's give Twitter a chance to shit on me again. That's very important. So we want to make sure we do that.
This is actually so easy. All you have to do is fix college eligibility issues in college basketball. Okay?
Oh, I got it.
That's it. All right. We're going to come back. We're going to come back, and we're going to do that on the other side. Field of 68 after dark.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today.
Are you trying to follow everything happening in college basketball? It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for recruiting news, game analysis, portal updates, and much, much more. For just $50 a year, you get access to the same information that your favorite coaching staff is subscribed to. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help. Make sure you subscribe today.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark, Friday, January 30th edition of the show. Thanks for being with us. We're here on YouTube. We're here on Sirius XM. John Martin, Jeff Goodman, Seth Davis here with you tonight. Of course, as soon as this is over, we're going to head over to the afters for whatever we miss. And honestly, the way Goodman is rolling tonight, it's going to be a lot. We've missed quite a bit already. So, because we're trying to save college sports, and you're getting us off track. You're getting us off track with your bullshit, and we're going to try to save college sports. The latest news, and this is why we called in Seth Davis, to be honest. Amari Bailey wants to play college basketball, Seth Davis. This is despite, of course, being drafted 3 years ago by an NBA team in the second round, 41st overall. So, will he suit up in college basketball? Should he suit up in college basketball?
Well, first of all, I don't know why anybody would criticize Amari Bailey for trying this. Why wouldn't he? I want to play college basketball. So if anyone out there wants a 55-year-old Jewish guy who refuses to get in a stance and pay me 7 figures NIL, I'm available. So
nobody's
go online and say,
nobody's paying.
Yes, that is very true. You guys aren't.
I don't know. Maybe like an influencer deal or something.
Well, and it's I don't even buy into the. I don't even blame Nate Oates for trying to get Bediako. His job is to win games. What? Let's all be holier than thou, because what have we seen? These guys have a huge problem with it until they have a chance to win another game. That's right. That's so, how many angels can we fit on the head of the pin here? The system is broken. The system deserved to be broken. College sports is not in a crisis. College sports is in a disruption. There's a very important difference between those two. The crisis was the decades that the NCAA and the leaders in college sports spent denying the rights under the law for their athletes, breaking antitrust law, and that finally they got sued into this situation. So the idea that Amari Bailey is going to look at all this and say, oh, well, this might work for me and I might have a chance to play and, make a couple $1 million, but I'm not going to do it for some principle, spare me. Okay. Yeah. Everyone's got all these great ideas to fix all of this, but none of them are feasible. If anybody says we need a players union, first of all, without going into the weeds, the legal hurdles on that are so high, it's almost legally impossible for that to happen. But why would the players want a union right now? They're making a killing. You're going to have a union, and you're going to have a CBA. And what's that going to do? That's going to give schools a chance, first of all, to limit your compensation with salary caps. And then they're going to be able to make rules that say if you transfer, you have to sit out. And then, by the way, Mr. Football Player at Alabama, you're going to be sharing your money with the volleyball player at Miami of Ohio, because they're in the union too. Like nobody thinks about the feasibility of these things. I got bad news for everybody. There's only one way out of this wilderness, and it belongs with the United States Congress. I'm sure we all feel so much better knowing that Congress is going to fix this. Like that's absolutely going to fix everything. Basically, what Amari Bailey is doing, what we've seen with this corrupt, might be a, let's say, conflicted judge in Tuscaloosa, is that all you need is one judge, because they don't have to decide the merits of your argument. All they have to do is say, well, there's a lot going on here. Let's just put an injunction on this. Let's just put a temporary restraining order on this rule until we figure it out. It'll probably take a couple of years, by which time, you'll have made your money and you'll have played. So that is the scary part, because once one judge rules a certain way, it's not like a neat precedent, but it becomes part of the claim of the brief that the next lawyer is going to file to the other court. So it is scary that the justice system has that. I thought Dan Wetzel made a really interesting point. I actually hadn't thought about it. And that is, the NCAA had been asking Congress for this antitrust exemption to handle the compensation end of things. And they kind of dropped the ball on the eligibility stuff. Like, let's at least be able to make rules about who's allowed to play and who's not. So basically, I've been talking to the NCAA a lot about this, is they have to really scale down their ask of Congress. Like, let's just give us a bare minimum here, some type of dry land that now all these judges have to follow, and then we'll go for the bigger stuff. So it's going to take a few years. It took a long time to get here. It's going to take a few years. And now we see that the CSC, by the way, is investigating LSU football. Like, they need to make an example of someone, because no one's paying attention to their.
I'm not sure.
I thought it was LSU
football.
Okay.
No,
it's football. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah. They're not sure yet.
Is it another sport at LSU? But is LSU?
Correct.
It is LSU.
Okay. I guess I just assumed.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is, but
that would help.
Yeah,
that would help if they could make an example of someone and have everybody, like, you guys did this settlement in the House case. Like, do you want there to be no limits on spending, or do you want to follow the limits that you guys asked for? So I don't know if I fixed anything there for you, John, but that's how I see it.
So one of the things, and I've talked to a couple of coaches in the last 24 hours overall, and they say this $20.5 million is going to be irrelevant next year for the most part. That schools aren't worried about it. They're going to go over it. They're going to find other avenues to be able to pay these players. And we're not just talking about Kentucky and Duke, which is kind of what we thought it would be 6 months ago. We're like, well, Kentucky and Duke, they're going to get real NIL. But, like, real NIL can come from all the Nike contracts, right? They were kind of deemed one thing going to the schools. Well, now all that Nike money can go to the players now. They can find a way to probably finagle it so that money goes to the players now for compensation for NIL. So there's ways of getting around this. So that 20.5 is nobody's worried about it. None of the coaches are worried about that right now. Number two, as it pertains to this Amari Bailey thing and Bediako and all that, the number one thing to me should be, and again, like Seth said, we got judges, we got ways of kind of getting around it with the court system. But number one should be, the moment you check in to an NBA regular season game, you are done. Your eligibility is gone. You can never play college basketball. That should be the easiest thing in my mind to be able to do. Should be. Like, even a judge should hopefully, like, anybody should be able to interpret that. You are a pro. You played in an NBA game. It's over. It's over. The dream is over going back to college. Turn the page. Turn the effing page. And now I'm telling you, we got 10, 20 dudes who still have a year left next year that have played NBA games that aren't making real money right now in the league. They're either, jumping around on a two-way or G League or overseas, but they played 10, 20, 30 games, and they're all looking right now to come back, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? If you're making $200,000-300 grand overseas or $75 grand in the G League, and somebody's saying, yeah, we're going to pay you $2 million next year in college, I don't care how demeaning you think it might be to go backwards for $2 million. you're doing it. You're doing it. So I don't blame them either. But again, should be so clear cut. Like the moment you check in for an NBA game, it's over. It's over. No college.
So
again.
it's a couple of things. First of all, the issue is who makes that decision, right? So should the NCAA have the legal authority to determine who's eligible and who's not? That's definitely above my pay grade from a legal perspective, but I do feel like it requires.
It's their friggin' league, Seth. Like that's the hardest part for me to comprehend, and I hate.
Yeah, but they're not allowed to. They're not allowed to break the law. They're not allowed to break the law. So the question is, what's the law? What's the law? Like, can they legally say that? But here's the other thing. I'm a little devil's advocate here because obviously I agree with what you're saying. But when you say, okay, first of all these international guys are coming over. We know they're not making a lot of money internationally, or they wouldn't be coming over. So when Greg Burns said, all these internationals making millions, I'm like, no, they're not. Like, why would you say something that's not true? We all know that that's not true. You don't have or they wouldn't be coming over if they were making millions. Most of them are making, mid to high five figures who came over. But then the question becomes, well, you can't complain. Let's make a rule. You can't complain college if you've been in the NBA, because if you're in the NBA, you're a professional. Well, what are college players? They're professionals. Like we're talking about, You're making more money in college than this. Amari Bailey can make more money in college than he made in the NBA. But the NCAA is going to say you can't come because you're a professional, and in college you're not a professional. So you can kind of see the legal argument saying, what's the freaking difference? That's why you need an act of Congress. I don't know if it's antitrust or some of labor protection, some level of legal coverage to the NCAA. So whatever the rule is, you have the legal authority to make the rule, and that means that judges can't overturn it. So until there is some act of Congress, until there's something from Congress, it's going to be judge to judge. And so you cannot blame these guys for rolling the dice and saying, oh, you should, that ship has sailed. You should go. You should take the L. No, I want to take the money. I'm not worried about your opinion of me and my morals when I have a chance to make a lot of money. That's just how the world works. Fascinating.
Yeah, we'll get right on that in Congress, Seth. You're exactly right. We have absolutely nothing else on our desk. So I'm looking forward to a very, very speedy resolution here. All right, let's move on to some, actually on the court here and out of the courtroom. This is, obviously at one time, maybe it was thought it would be, maybe a top 10 matchup. It's close. It's a top 15 matchup. BYU at Kansas, AJ DeBonsa, Darren Peterson. Kansas is about a 4.5-point favorite. Jeff Goodman, is this game, how much, if anything, will this game determine who should go number one? I know you made that decision back in August who your number one pick would be. Is there anything AJ could do maybe to change your mind with this game?
I don't think so. I mean, again, I think the gap has closed. I think the gap is definitely where in the preseason, talking to a lot of the NBA guys, most of them had Darren Peterson as the clear-cut number one. And I think a combination of things has happened, right? I mean, AJ, you watch him, and even when he doesn't make shots, his ability to clear space, get to the basket, finish above the rim, just get to the basket whenever he wants is really impressive. And then you look at Darren Peterson and the constant injuries that have happened make you worry a little bit. Like, is there something there? And obviously the medical is going to be very, very important with whoever's got the number one pick, and probably debating between those two guys. They're both sensational. I can't wait to see it tomorrow. I'm going to the Big 12 tournament in March, and I hope to see it again there, to be honest. Darren's coming back from an ankle injury. I don't think he's gone full speed, according to my sources, yet in practice. So I don't know how he'll be. And one of the things that you've really seen with how Bill Self, after all these injuries with Peterson, he's completely changed how he uses him now. Like before the injury, he was the guy with the ball in his hands as a kind of de facto point guard. Now it's clearly counsel. and you've got Peterson playing off the ball. And I think a lot of it is to make sure that he kind of protects Darren Peterson as much as he can.
Seth, just a word from you on this.
I also think it's a better fit. I remember a couple of years ago in 22 having the same conversation with Bill Self about Abaji, where you had a guy who was capable of giving you 30 every game, but that's not what's best for the team because everyone else stands around and watches. People, I feel like they assume, all right, so Peterson was out and Kansas was playing well. Now Peterson comes back, so they're going to go from here to here. That's not how it works. First, you got to go here. They got to figure some stuff out. They were playing championship level defense without him, and all these other guys were playing collectively, moving the ball, driving. When you have an incredible scorer like Peterson, he's got to have the ball in his hands. But then Melvin Council was their best player probably in those games that Peterson wasn't there. So I just think it's part of it is what Jeff is saying about preserving it. And by the way, if you're playing the 2, you're also guarding a 2, which maybe a little bit easier than guarding a 1. I just think it fits better. So I just think it's going to be awesome, man. I mean, I think we've all been to games in Allen Fieldhouse. It's a special place. It's just going to be a big time game. It's not going to, the decision about 1 versus 2 is not going to come down to any specific game. It's a much broader conversation than that. I think, people clearly would probably say Peterson, all things considered. Although, by the way, there's a dark horse in this conversation, Kingston Flemings. You'll have to maybe bring me back for that conversation. But no, to me, if Peterson stays healthy, because in terms of the rhythm and the reps and the games and all the different experiences they go through as a group, there's no doubt in my mind Kansas can win a national championship. I'm not talking about play deep Final Four. I'm talking about win the whole shebang. Because like I said, they were like in the top 10 on Ken Pom in defense in the games that Peterson was out. And now they get things going with that Hall of Fame coach. They could be rolling. So I'm real psyched to watch this game tomorrow.
Seth just kind of snuck in Kingston Flemings at number 1 on us. Maybe we'll revisit that in the afters. All right, Goodman, hit us with the toast. Who gets your toast of the night here?
I mean, I'm going to give it to Michigan as a whole, just for their win at Michigan State. But I also want to give it to Novak Djokovic for his win this morning.
Well done, sir.
Are you dropping in tennis in honor of Zagoria? Was that a tennis? Because you want Zagoria to watch? The more we talk about tennis, I'm going to toast my fellow MOT Josh Schertz and the St. Louis Billikens. Fun fact about Josh Schertz: he spent 1 summer at Camp Equinunk. That's my summer camp, and I was actually in camp. I don't remember him. He don't remember me, but we have somehow reconnected. How about the job? 1 crazy ass 3-pointer away from being undefeated.
Terrific stuff. All right, we're going to move over to the afters. Thanks for being with us here on Sirius XM. Head up in the afters. See you in just a second.
These my DJ Burns shades I had for.
That was like taking them into the depths of Alaska and just dropping them off.
The first person that's gonna die got to be one of the black guys. We're not gonna make it to the end of the movie.
That's like asking somebody, do they want to get a prostate exam or a damn gunshot wound?
Welcome into the afters here on the field of 68. John Martin, Seth Davis, Jeff Goodman with you tonight. All right, so we fixed the United States government. We fixed Providence, right? We fixed Providence. So now, Seth, we got to fix the tournament. And luckily for us, I think we've trademarked every number up 4, right? So 72, 76, 80. I mean, okay.
Yeah. 100.
That is a great question, by the way. If they go to 76, are you guys changing your name?
No. What's the Big Ten? How many teams are in the Big Ten right now, Seth?
That's a phenomenal point. Yeah,
but okay. All right.
I like that. I like that.
I don't know if I agree with that, but it's not my company, so I'll share that privately. Okay, so
you're in your last. Hey, you're probably in your last night hosting. So
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's always touch and go with this fucking guy, man. All right, so tournament is there news, or are we just throwing this at Seth? Have I missed something?
Yeah.
No, he just wants me to get the shit kicked out of me on Twitter again, which is okay.
Yeah,
I'm used to it.
Take your 40 lashes, Seth.
We disagree on this. We disagree on this because Seth is an expansion guy and I'm a retraction guy right now. I'd like to go back to 64. It was clean.
Okay.
It was simple. It was the best tournament format at 64. Tell me why I'm wrong.
You're only wrong because you know that's not going to happen. So why would you make a suggestion of something that you know for a 1 billion % fact is not going to happen?
Fair,
so can we come back to the land of the living and have a real conversation about this? Okay. First of all, to my good friend John Martin, we don't need to fix the tournament. The tournament is not broken. So this is not about fixing the tournament. That's first of all. Second of all, I am not pro expansion so much. I am anti expansion. This notion that you can't touch the tournament, you're going to ruin. If adding 8 teams is going to ruin the tournament must not be very good. So we're not talking about a drastic change. When people talk about the tournament is awesome, the tournament is perfect, the tournament is not perfect. You know why it's not perfect? I'll give you 2 words, or maybe these are 3 words: Tuesday and Wednesday. First 4. And when I was looking at this, the light that went off my head was like, oh my God. Instead of having, now we're junkies, we're going to watch these first 4 games. There's some of the best games I've seen that are in the first 4, particularly between the 2 16 seeds, which is their Super Bowl. Amazing basketball. But people are not paying attention. People are deriding it. Oh, the tournament starts on Thursday. So instead of having 2 games on Tuesday night and 2 on Wednesday, you have what? Can you help me with my math? I think it's 6 games on Tuesday, 6 games on Wednesday, and then you have your 16 games on Thursday. That's a better tournament. It's better for the field of 68 when you come on Tuesday. And by the way, gambling, everyone's going to bet those games. Everyone's going to watch those games. There's going to be buzzer beaters. It's going to be exciting.
We love gambling.
That was to me like, we love gambling. So, yeah, and listen, so that's it. So when someone as intelligent as Jeff says, well, let's go back to 64, that's not going to frickin' happen. Okay,
fine.
And I just think it's interesting to me that I honestly think people are so resistant to change. This tournament has added 4 teams in the last 40 years. You cannot tell me that is commensurate with the growth of the sport. And I know it takes some getting used to. And the same arguments against expanding are the same arguments. And I wrote this, I'll plug my book about John Wooden. When they, in 1975 was the first year that teams outside the conference champions were invited. And a lot of people, including John Wooden, said you should have to win your league to make the tournament. So like I said, I'm not like, hey, we have to fix the tournament is not broken. I think it would be better. But this notion, there's some of our colleagues, I'm not going to name any names, who actually say, don't discuss it. Don't even study it. Don't discuss it. I'm like, you know who said that? The CEO of Blockbuster. Don't discuss about Netflix and streaming and DVD. We're just going to have our stores with the cassettes. People don't like progress. And I think it would be better. It's not necessary. I think it'll be better, but this moral stampede saying that it would ruin everything and it would be awful, I'm not on for that. And I've taken a lot of shit over this. So it's exhausting being the smartest guy on Twitter, believe me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
All right, Jeff, slay me.
Well, I just feel like it might water it down a little bit. Okay. I feel like it's already at the point where you're talking about, a North Carolina team last year that was very subpar that to me got in the tournament. I have a harder time with that.
Right.
I would like it to be
right. Okay. Can I just say something, by the way? I'm sure you're aware the North Carolina game in the first 4 is the highest rated first 4 game in the history of the first 4. So when people say nobody wants to see these sub 500 teams in the power conference, it's literally the opposite of true, but please go ahead.
No, I'm not saying ratings wise, Seth. I'm not looking at it from a ratings perspective at all. I'm looking at it from a quality perspective.
I agree with your point.
want it to be a little more exclusive. And I feel like if you expand to 76, all those eight teams or so, and like, did they really earn it? Did they play their way in? And then you're going to get team 79 through 85 whining and complaining no matter what, that they deserve to be in. And you're going to have teams that are honestly, far under 500 in the power conference leagues. If you do it. Now, I'll say this. I agree with you. Absolutely discuss it, because why not? Like figure it out. If there's a way. One thing worries me is that Greg Sankey and some of the other big boys ultimately want the Cinderellas and the little guys out of the tournament. That would be disastrous for the NCAA tournament. Disastrous. And I'm concerned about that, because it's all about money for them, and they want all those shares for their league, which I get it. They're all about the money. They're all about themselves. They're not what's best for the overall product of the game, which I think is, in the first round, it's the Cinderellas, the upsets, but everybody wants the big boys to get to the Final Four. No doubt about it. If you do decide to expand, I've said this over and over for years now, let's do something that is at least entertaining. What is always the big argument? The big argument going in is, well, the mid-major or the high major, right? It's Indiana State or North Carolina last year, right? Which one's better? Well, pit them against each other at least. Let's see it. Let's see them fight it out and put the remaining four best mids against the four best highs that were right on the bubble, and let them play a play-in to see who actually gets in the main bracket. Do something a little bit unique, a little bit different. I watch the play-in in the NBA. It doesn't do a lot for me, to be honest, but I get it. It brings in more revenue. So obviously the NBA is going to be all for it, just like college. But just because something brings in more money, Seth, does not mean it's best for the sport.
Well, I mean, I would only partially agree with that. I mean, this is a business, and they have we're all trying to maximize our revenue. So I think that's one and the same. It's not exactly one for one. I totally agree. I talk to these guys just like you do, Jeff. I don't think anybody wants to be the face of the person who ruined March Madness. So this idea of there being no Cinderellas, I certainly acknowledge that it could happen, but I don't think anybody truly wants that to happen. At a certain point, this is a competition, right? So I've heard people in the Twitter sphere who are these big time college basketball fans, and they love the mid majors and they love this. Well, you should carve out X number of spots for these low major teams. Well, no, it should be whoever's are the best 8 teams that we're adding are the ones that should go in. Now, we actually, and again, let's talk about facts, actual facts. The committee puts out its first 4 out. I don't think it's necessarily in order, but this is the group of 4 teams that were at the top who are left out. So you can look at the last 10 years, and you have 40 teams. And basically, 1 out of 4 tends to be a mid-major. So if you add 8 teams, you're probably going to be adding 1 or 2 more mid-majors, which is why all of the mid-major coaches and all of the mid-major commissioners want the tournament to expand. So it drives me bonkers when I see people on Twitter or elsewhere saying, don't expand because you're going to screw over the mid-majors. And I'm like, what's better for the Atlantic 10 than the commissioner of the Atlantic 10, who's one of the best commissioners there's ever been, and all of the coaches what's better for them than they do. So it's a good discussion. It's a good discussion. I don't know that it's going to happen. If I had to guess, I think it is, but it's not 100% there.
Give me 4 for 4. Give me the best 4. And I know, and it's all subjective anyway. So it's not like we're saying, like Tulsa right now, right? They've got they're in the American, so they're, a different league. But all I'm saying is, like, I think you could find a way the first year to see if that works. Do a 4 for 4, pit them against each other, and let's see. I would be more interested than watching.
I still think you can artificially say that, like, all those kids at all those power, like, they're trying to make the tournament. Like, it should be the 8 best teams. Like this did not. I'm a big participation trophy guy, by the way. Let's invite me back for that conversation. But we're not giving out participation trophies here. There are enough metrics out there that can help us determine.
But is there that?
It's not a feel-good story.
I tell you,
yeah.
There's not that big a difference between.
I agree, but I don't think you should have an artificial. These leagues get this number of spots. We need to get it 4 mid-majors because it makes us all feel chummy. You still gotta play your way in. And I know the scheduling is unfair. Life is not fair. And by the way, the power conference, high resource schools have had, it's like the whole transfer portal NIL. Oh, it's just all the power schools with all the money are going to get all the good players. Really? You mean like as has been the case since 1880? Right. Like, like we're all grown-ups here, but some schools, it's a good conversation. What do you think, John? Weigh in here, King Solomon. John, what do you got?
I'm letting you guys go at it, but I was just going to say, in the before times, as I call them, some smaller schools were able to, so and now you can't cheat anymore. It's very difficult to cheat in 2026.
Very true.
So, and I say that as I live in Memphis. So I know what it was like to cheat and like be on top of the sport, but now you can't do that. So it's all
you can't do that.
It's all.
It'll be. Let me tell you something. It's going to be amazing if it happens, and I do think it will. But it's not. Hey, at a certain point, it's almost like one of those replay reviews that takes so long. It's like, guys, if it's not obvious, then if it's taking this long, then don't change the call. Right. So the fact that it is, and that's what also people don't understand. Oh, they're just doing it for the money. If they could make more money on this, they would have done it a long time ago. They're just trying to break even on the units. So they're trying to get CBS and Turner and, Cap One and Coca-Cola, all this, like they're trying to raise the money just to keep it even. But I'm just saying everyone is acting like it will be the end of times if we add 8 more teams to the NCAA tournament. If it happens, you're going to be amazed at how quickly everybody moves on and embraces it and bets on the games. And it's like, what were we even mad about 2 seconds ago?
The viewing experience is not going to be in any way, shape, or form worse, right? It's going to be great. We're going to love it. I agree totally. I think what Jeff's worry is, and what my worry specifically would be, is the devaluing of making the tournament. It's going to be like the new 20 wins in college basketball. Everybody wins 20 games if they're worth a shit. And then secondly, where does it stop? Right. That is the concern. It's 8 now, but if it's 8 now, Seth, you know this as well as I do, they don't get a bite of the apple and say, I'm full. I don't want any more. No, they're going to say, I want more. Let's go from 78 to 90. Where does it stop? That's the worry.
It's a great question. It's a legitimate worry. It's not enough of a reason not to do it. It's taken 40 years to add 4 teams. It's taken multiple years remember they looked at 96 and I think the TV partners are like, well, if the 96 number and the 68 number are going to be the same. So whatever you guys want to do, we're not paying. So like, well, okay, let's leave it. So given how hard it is just to add these 8 teams, the idea that they're going to go to 92 years later doesn't strike me as realistic, but have me back on the show at that point, and I will probably be against going to 90. I'll probably say, look, we just added these 8 teams. Let's give it a decade, see how it does.
I like it.
Let's wait. Good to talk about it. Always study it. Always talk about it. But like the financials are not there on this. So it's hard enough to just make a little bit more money. So the value of a unit does not, because that's the non-starter. If the value of the unit goes down, they won't do it. And it's taken them this long just to get to that. So the idea that they're going to just jump to 90 in a couple of years is not realistic, but it's,
Seth, how confident are you that it will be in place for, not obviously for next year's NCAA tournament?
I would say it's probably better than 50%, but maybe not a lot better. Maybe 60%, 60-40, they do it. Okay. 60-40, they do it. But it's certainly not a slam dunk. I mean, they have been looking at this and they're trying to come up with the money, and really that's actually the best argument against it, guys, is if it's this hard to do, and if it's this hard to find the money just to break even doing it, then don't do it. But
that's right.
There's certainly, I don't begrudge them. They want the experience. They want their teams and look, there's ancillary monetary value whether it's admissions, merchandise, tickets, buzz around the program, donors getting excited for NIL. So that's really the upside financially of it.
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing about fears, right, Seth? They don't have to be logical.
That is very true. Listen, I'm Jewish. You don't have to tell me. We're afraid all the time. We're very neurotic. Hey, what is this bump on my hand? What is this bump? I'm going to be dead by tomorrow.
All right, Dagan, do we have anything? Is that going to do it for us tonight? All right. Well, Seth, it was a lot of fun, man. Thanks for being with us,
guys. Have me back.
Celebrity guest
have
week.
Me back.
We will. Well,
John, have me back when you get me a real partner to talk to. Okay.
Will do. Absolutely.
HQ a little bit before we go. Give it a plug.
Thanks. HoopsHQ.com. We got a sale right now on an annual subscription, $20, 26 cents. We got a lot of really good writers. Andy Katz has been writing a lot for us. Andy and I just started a show which has been airing on Fubo TV, and we got a lot of making up to do to catch Field.
You just said Tommy Lloyd, right? You had Tommy Lloyd just on.
Tommy Lloyd on, and we had Fred Hoiberg on last week. And, that's a great thing about Jeff. Obviously, you know this better than anybody, and covering college basketball. Like I was driving to Fox last Saturday with Rob Stone, who's my neighbor here in LA. And we had Kansas on our air. There was a question about Darren Peterson. So I got Bill Self on his cell phone. So I called him. So the three of us talked in the car for like 10 minutes. And Rob was like, well, that was pretty cool. Like, college basketball is great like that. I said to him, what, you don't get to talk to Kirby Smart on your way in on the college football side? Like, college basketball coaches, for the most part, are a pleasure. So Tommy Lloyd's of the world and the Fred Hoibergs of the world. And once in a while, you guys got to get Dusty May on, maybe. I don't know why he's resisting, but the fact that you get Elliot Cadeau to pop up like we did tonight. It's great. So hoopshq.com, visit us, go to Field of 68. College basketball is a really great little community. I don't know if you call it a niche sport, but I would call it a community. And I'm a huge Field of 68 fan. You guys know that. So I'm really glad you guys had me on tonight.
We appreciate it, Seth. We appreciate it. You got an open invite anytime you want. We'll bump Doster any day of the week for you. So you're in.
That's fair. That's fair.
Awesome. Well, thanks for hanging out with us tonight on a Friday. Obviously, tomorrow is going to be an awesome day of college basketball. Keep it locked here on Field of 68. So for Seth Davis, for Jeff Goodman, I'm John Martin. Have a great night. We'll catch you here tomorrow night.